Oh, come on. Come on. Come I didn't really play with Army Men as a kid. I mean, Ninja Turtles, sure. Ghostbusters, absolutely. RoboCop, definitely. Pretty Princess, only when Dad wasn't looking. But Army Men, never. They just didn't really appeal to kids of my generation. I mean, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger breaking goddamn spines and Bruce Willis yippee-ki-yang entire skyscrapers and T-Rexes just T-Rexing people's faces off. I mean, however, my interest did admittedly peak as a teenager when Sarge's Heroes and Sarge's Heroes 2 dropped onto store shelves in '99 and 2000. I remember being pleasantly surprised by the games, actually. I mean, they weren't Metal Gear Solid or anything, but they were neat action games with some unique levels and scenery. I mean, there's a lot you can do with the concept of playing a tiny soldier in a large world, and while the games didn't necessarily see this potential all the way through, they certainly had a ton of promise. And then the series just went quiet. Until 2004, when the franchise was revived one final time with the grittier Army Men Sarge's War. No longer published by the now defunct 3DO, the game was bought and finished by publisher Global Stars Software. Well, did the new publisher manage to inject some life into this franchise, or is it another subpar entry? Let's find out. Actually, I'm going to tell you now, it sucks. But keep watching the video, though. There's a great Star Trek gag at the end I spent 13 minutes making. Well, let's start with the obvious here. This is a game from 2004 that looks like a game from 1997 and plays like it was developed in hell itself. And if sometime in the future that's revealed to actually be true, then let me be the first to congratulate the Dark Lord on his game and offer my cousin Feldor a sacrifice. What? Come, Feldor!
No.
I said, come, Feldor!
No.
Dude, we spoke about this.
No, we didn't.
Yes.
What are you talking
If ever
about?
a situation arose or one of us had to be sacrificed, you would be the one and I would do the sacrificing. Dude, I have the harder job.
F off, dude.
Dude, get over here, you little
Dude, get off. Get off. Get off. Ow, you just kicked me in the nards. Who the says nards anymore?
The idea of a tiny soldier in a man-sized world has tons of potential, and Sarge's War capitalizes on exactly none of it. I'd say they actually did less with it now than they did with the first two games. All the levels are interchangeable. I mean, find a bomb, blow something up. Sometimes you blow up a barrier. Sometimes it's a wall. Sometimes you have to put a bomb on a bigger bomb. It's 4 hours of planting bombs. Each level plays exactly the same. If you can even call it playing, you know, it's more like fighting. You are fighting this game. This was 2004. I mean, we already had Halo. Halo 2 was only a few months away. We knew how a shooter should feel. But everyone at Global Star Software apparently had their heads buried in the sand, because this is, without a doubt, some of the worst controls I've ever seen in a shooter from this generation. Sure, you can find worse examples like Drake of the 99 Dragons, but Sarge's War has actually made the controls even worse than they were on the Nintendo 64. I can't even comprehend how they managed to do that. That is like a legitimately impressive feat. Are we studying this? We should study how they managed to make a Nintendo 64 game play worse on an Xbox controller. Seriously, well done, you incompetent idiots. Well done. I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, literally everything is wrong. You'd think they'd accidentally get something right. I mean, alright. The left stick controls Sarge. Poorly, obviously. He zips around like a frightened squirrel, and the camera can't decide if it wants to stay behind him or take its seizure medication. This means trying to make minute adjustments is near impossible without the camera flipping out. And this all makes the right stick, the actual camera control, practically useless. Since both sticks basically can't decide who controls the camera, you end up with a game that demands you fight it to get anything done. You just can't use these two sticks independently like you would in almost any other third-person shooter, and trying to do so results in wildly flailing around while the camera whips around in every direction but the one you wanted. And let's not forget about the lock-on mechanic, which in a game that controls this badly, you'd think they would have prioritized to get it right. Are you sitting down? Well, you might want to stand up then, spin around a few times and face the nearest wall. Congrats, you've designed a better lock-on mechanic than Sarge's War. Sarge's War's lock-on mechanic functions more like a lock-on something mechanic. Maybe a wall, maybe a plant, maybe that guy standing directly in front of you, or maybe that guy who doesn't even know you're there 100 feet in the distance, who hasn't seen you yet and who isn't a threat in any real way, shape, or form. I don't know. Maybe the game knows something more than I do. Maybe that guy directly in front of me just wants to hug it out. Maybe he wants to put the shotgun down, take off that grenade belt, raise the white flag, and pick up a friendly game of Pretty Princess. Just don't tell Dad. Oh, and I lied earlier when I said they didn't get anything right. Actually, they put reload on X. So, +1 point for Sarge's War. But they put fire on A, minus all the points! Even the sound design is completely broken. I mean, I hope you like stock sound effects and wildly inconsistent mixing. For some reason, all the cutscenes are practically muted. I had to turn the volume almost all the way up to hear anything at all. And once the actual game started, you had to turn it all the way back down again. Jesus. I mean, this was a budget game, so I'll give it some leeway here, but come on, guys. Come on, guys. Oh,
come on, guys. Oh, would you come on?
So here you have a game about shooting guys, where the act of shooting guys is completely bungled, the levels are boring and repetitive, and the sound design is atrocious. Jesus. Is there anything positive to say about this one? I mean, well, the cutscenes are kind of neat in a Saturday morning cartoon kind of way, and the way the soldiers break apart when you shoot them is cool. And holy shit, this game just red-ringed my Xbox. I'm not even joking here for a bit. This godforsaken game red-ringed my Xbox 360. Wonderful. God. Well, there's only one thing left to do now.
Of my Xbox, I can only say this. Of all the consoles I have bought at my local GameStop, this was most defective.
Sir. Captain, can you hear me? Hold on, Captain. We are coming.